What's going on, Giants fans? Before we get into today's show, I got a question for you. Because I was talking with my dad this weekend, who's also a big Giants fan, and he thinks Evan Neal is going to have a bigger impact his rookie year. I'm rolling with Kayvon Thibodeaux, but I want to take the pulse of all Giants fans watching this video. Let me know, who do you think is going to have a bigger impact this year? Type 70 for Evan Neal as jersey number, or if you think King K, Kayvon Thibodeaux is the guy, type number 5. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And in today's show, we're going to break down, have they signed a perfect mentor for Kayvon Thibodeaux? On the back end of the show, Joe Schoen, he spoke to the media about the rookies and the injuries that are going on at Giants offseason workouts. But first, let's talk about this mentor. Jihad Ward, he was signed by the New York Giants in NFL free agency to a one-year deal, who was a former second-round pick. Back in 2016, he was selected by the Las Vegas Raiders, and he played his best football back in 2019 and 2020 when he was a part of the Don Wink Martindale defense for the Baltimore Ravens. Jihad Ward, he spoke about Kayvon Thibodeaux and about how he's been a mentor for him since Thibodeaux has joined the Giants, and he had great things to say about him, but I also thought what he said was very important. So this is what Ward had to say about Thibodeaux when he asked what it was like to be working with the number 5 overall pick. He said, I'm on his ass. I'm on him. I make sure he studies the playbook and stuff like that because I don't want him to play slow. He'll be ready. He'll definitely be ready. My job, it's to get him right in all of our jobs, basically. He's dialed in, though. He's ready. Once he comes with this situation, I don't know his injury, so whatever situation he's got going on, he'll be ready in training camp and be ready to go. I just don't want him to be learning while he's playing. I want him to go. I do what I do on the field and off the field and make sure all the guys are straight. It's my job to do that. I love that Jihad Ward has come over to the New York Giants and been a leader all offseason long. If you've been staying up to date on the Giants, you've seen that. He's talked to the media and a glowing respect of this Giants organization. And the fact is, he knows the Wink Martindale defense. He knows what it takes to make it in the NFL as a high draft pick. Has he lived up to the buzz of being a second-round pick? No. But he's carved out a nice career so far in the NFL. He was selected by the Las Vegas Raiders in the second round in the 2016 draft, and it didn't work out there. So we moved around. In 2016 and 2017, he spent those first 2 seasons with the Las Vegas Raiders, or the Oakland Raiders at that point, played 21 games for them, had 32 tackles, just 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 11 QB hits. Then he was signed by the Indianapolis Colts. He played there for 2 seasons, was injured on and off, just played 9 games. He did have 4 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 7 QB hits. But it was when he was signed by the Baltimore Ravens, and after he was cut by the Indianapolis Colts midway through the 2019 season. He then re-signed with the Ravens on a 1-year deal and has played 21 games for that team, had 16 tackles, 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and 12 QB hits. And last year, he spent 1 year with the Jacksonville Jaguars, played all 17 games, had 32 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 7 QB hits. Not only is he going to be a mentor for Kayvon Thibodeaux off the field, because he knows the pressure of being an early draft pick. He's gone through some struggles, so he can tell him what it's like if you struggle early on in your rookie year. But he knows this defense inside and out. Honestly, the only reason he's on the Giants is because he has that connection with Wink Martindale. He calls him Uncle Wink. He spent a lot of time with Baltimore, and that's where Jihad Ward played his best football. If you can play your best football under Wink Martindale in a position where you were lined up all over the defensive line, kind of like I'm expecting Thibodeaux to be this year, I think it's encouraging that Ward in his first offseason is stepping up as a leader and taking Thibodeaux under his wing. We're going to continue to break down what Ward had to say about Thibodeaux. Then we'll touch on those Joe Schoen quotes in a second. But first, if it's your first time watching a New York Giants Now video, make sure you go down and hit that big red button because we are less than 420 subscribers away from getting to 10,000. Look, once we get to 10,000, we'll continue to do more videos every single day. Daily videos around the latest Giants news and rumors. So if you're looking for that during the offseason, during this summer, go down right now and hit that big red button. When you look at the defensive front for the Giants in the depth chart, right now I'm projecting Thibodeaux and Ojulari to be your outside linebackers, your edge rushers, your defensive ends, whatever you want to call it. Then you have Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Justin Ellis on the inside. So Jihad Ward is going to have a chance to make an impact early on this team. He's never going to be an edge rusher that gets you 10 sacks, but he does the dirty work. He's solid against the run, and he knows what it takes to make it in this scheme. And that's the thing that I like the most. The fact is that he's been there, and he's been productive in this system, and he knows what it takes to be good in this system. But it's not just Jihad Ward that has, or Kayvon Thibodeaux that's been noticing what Jihad Ward has been doing as a mentor. Brian Daboll has already taken notice of Jihad Ward being a leader for the Giants in organized team activities this summer. He said he kind of jumped right into the deep end. He's got a great personality. He's energetic. I love the way he practices. He's always running to the football. I'd say he helps out. He's great with young guys like Kayvon and the other young guys in this room. He's been a really good addition. And when you're a player like Jihad Ward, that's not going to be one of the best players on the team or a constant piece in this Giants front seven, you have to do something else to make yourself valuable. And he has been a mentor to these young players on this team. And if you're a guy like Kayvon Thibodeaux or Azeez Ojulari, as a young player, it's nice to have a shoulder to lean on, to have a big brother that's played in this defense and can show you the ropes of what it takes to play in the NFL. Jihad Ward is someone that's going to work hard. He's going to bring a lot of swag to the locker room. He's energetic, and he just loves football. And that already being a leader and helping out Kayvon Thibodeaux, I think that's a good sign for him, and it's definitely going to help him make this 53-man roster. But let's focus on Kayvon Thibodeaux for this question. 10 sacks in his rookie year. Do you think it can happen? Micah Parsons, I think, had 13 sacks last year. So that's what I want to see him do. Is that a little ambitious? Absolutely. But we'll set the question at 10. 10 sacks for Kayvon Thibodeaux this season, over or under? Get your thoughts in the comment section right now. Joe Schoen was on a podcast over this weekend, and he was asked about all the injured players that didn't participate at Giants minicamp over just last week, or Giants OTAs that were going on for the 3 weeks before that. And he had some cool quotes, and we'll show you that in a second. But there were 18 players that were wearing the red non-contact practice jerseys at Giants minicamp last week. That's a problem, in my opinion. Are they taking it easy? For sure. That's what Joe Schoen said. But when you look at the red jersey report and these 10 players, a lot of them are big-time players and going to be big-time contributors for the Giants this season, hopefully. Guys like Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard. They're all supposed to be starters. And so is Aaron Robinson and Darnay Holmes and Andrew Thomas, your franchise left tackle. Kayvon Thibodeaux, he's still nursing that groin or leg injury. Blake Martinez, he's coming back from the ACL injury. And Nick Gates and Matt Peart are also coming back from those injuries. But these reps in the offseason are very important, in my opinion, especially when you have a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, a head coach that's never been a head coach before. So I'm a little bit concerned. And the people that were running this podcast, they asked Joe Schoen if he was concerned. And this is what he had to say. He said, we've had quite a few injuries where a lot of those guys that are maybe slightly dinged up, or we didn't want to push them too hard because we don't play until September. Seeing them on the field, whether that's Kenny Golladay or Kadarius Toney or Sterling Shepard and Blake Martinez, there's some players that are good players in this league that I didn't get to see a lot this spring. I am anxious to see, hopefully, knock on wood, we can get 90 guys out there ready to go in late July when we first come back. There's some players that I just haven't been around, and I haven't really seen them do much this spring because they were injured. And that's a little bit concerning to me because, look, this is a make or break year for Daniel Jones. I'm concerned about the injuries. The fact is, he's working in practice with his backup left tackle. He's working with wide receivers that are starting in minicamp like C.J. Board, David Sills, and Richie James. I'm all for the Sills Army. I'm all for C.J. Board being a special teams specialist. Richie James, maybe he's a guy that you found a diamond in the rough. But when it's a money year for Daniel Jones, his last chance to prove that he can be a starter in this league, and he's having to go through offseason workouts with players that were on practice squads and most likely not going to make this roster, that's a problem. You have to get those reps under your belt, and we saw that last year. Him and Kenny Golladay, they were never on the same page. Is that due to Jason Garrett? Sure. Is that due that they didn't really get that much work in the offseason? Sure. But you have to take advantage of the time you have right now because these reps, they translate when you get to work with the people you're supposed to work with. But when you're throwing routes to C.J. Board, David Sills, and Richie James, that's not going to prepare you to be able to throw routes with Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, and Kadarius Toney. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm at about a 6.5 when it comes to how concerned I am about the Giants' injuries. Because we've known for the past couple of years, the Giants have been one of the most hurt teams in the NFL, and that showed face last year. But I'll let Giants fans answer this question. I'll be down in the comment section chopping it up with you all. Let me know how concerned you are about the Giants' injuries. Scale it from 1 to 10, 1 being you're not concerned at all, 10 being I'm very concerned. The Giants, it's not going to be looking good for them this year. If you haven't yet, make sure you go give us a follow over on Rumble. Rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. We're trying to get to 3,000 followers over there. So if you haven't yet, go to rumble.com/NYGiantsTV and show us some love because we're offering free and uncensored content on the latest New York Giants news and rumors. And my favorite feature about Rumble is you can listen to it audio style only. You can turn off or close out your phone or go answer a text message, email, or scroll through your Twitter timeline, and the audio of the video will continue to play, unlike YouTube where you have to pay a premium fee for that to happen. So give us a follow for daily Giants news and rumors videos over at rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. Joe Schoen, he also spoke about the rookies that are on this team and what he's seen from them through Giants minicamp and Giants OTAs and rookie minicamps for the Giants. And I thought what he said was very encouraging because he was honestly very honest. He said sometimes after drafts, you see a guy and you're like, that's not really what I thought he was going to be. There were none of those moments this year, which is nice. Everyone kind of looks as advertised. And I feel like if you're a GM and you draft a player, let's just make it, for example, Wan'Dale Robinson. And you're like, well, we selected him and he looked really good on tape and he looked really good at workouts, but he looked a little bit slower in person with the NFL players alongside him. And for that to not be a problem, I think it checks out. Of course, Joe Schoen isn't going to go on the podcast and just absolutely bash these rookies, but I believe him when he says it, that everything is checking out from all the players they selected. I'm a big fan of this rookie class. I think there's a lot of players that might find a long-term home for the Giants. And there's going to be players that were a part of the 2022 draft class for the Giants that are going to be cornerstone pieces. And you start off with Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeaux. Those are going to be cornerstone pieces for the Giants, hopefully for the next 10, 12, 13 years. But you also have guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and Daniel Bellinger, who's going to have a chance and a crack at being a starter in week 1 due to some injuries. You also have guys like Dane Belton who could creep in, and maybe he beats out a guy like Julian Love at strong safety, and they move Julian Love to slot corner. Or maybe Cordell Flott comes out and impresses his rookie years. There's a lot of players in this rookie draft class that I think will be able to contribute right away. So we used to ask this question back in draft season, but we've gone through some workouts. We've seen the rookies now on the field, just not on Sundays wearing Giants blue and playing in real NFL games. But I think we're at a better spot to where we can answer this question. Grade the Giants draft class for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I appreciate everyone that's made New York Giants now a part of their day today. If you haven't yet, go down right now, hit that big red button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. It's a big milestone here at Chat Sports, so let's get there as soon as possible. Join the family. Go down right now, hit that big red button.